What's up, everyone? I'm back again finally for another lesson. And today I just wanted to finish off this little exotic symmetrical scale series I've been working on with what's probably my favorite symmetrical scale, which is called the Dominant Diminished, or sometimes it's called the Half-Whole Diminished scale. So this scale is built just like all the other scales, except it's built off the diminished seventh chord. So that would be like this chord. And that in of itself is actually a symmetrical pattern, because if you take this shape, this would be E diminished seventh, and then you move that up a minor third. That's the same exact chord, but just inverted. So that's like an E diminished seventh, but with a G in the bass. And then you move it up again, and again, and then after 4 times you get the octave. But of course, that's just the chord, not the scale. So what we do to get the scale is, one way to think about it is we take all those notes that we just played, and we basically move it up a half step on each inversion. So that would be all the notes in the scale. So all of those chords together would form a scale that has a pattern of half steps and whole steps, which is why some people call it the half-whole diminished scale. So it would look something like this. So that's how we look at it on one string, but if you want to play it on multiple strings, one pattern you can play is vertically, which if we start on this 6th fret on the low E string, it would just be 6th fret, 7th fret, and then 9th fret, 10th fret. And from there you play that same shape, but you just move up a half step. So now you're on the 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 11th fret. Go back down, move up. Down one string and then move up a fret. And of course next is the B string, so we have to move up 2 frets. So the whole scale sounds like this. And then the last way I like to look at it is horizontally on the neck. So if we start on this E, our ring finger on the 12th fret of the low E, it goes 12th fret, 13th fret, and then you go 10, 11, 13. And from there you want to go to the next string and move down a fret, and then you'll just play the same exact shape. And then again, you go down to the B string and play the same shape. So the whole scale looks like this. And that's pretty much all the shapes I know for the scale, because if you take that one shape and you just move that up a minor third, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets, it's just the same scale, but in a different place. And so on. So like I said in the beginning of this video, this is probably my favorite symmetrical scale to use, and the reason for that is, well, one reason for that is it's just very easy to play and very ergonomic. And even just looking at it, you could see, oh, there's lots of patterns like this string skipping pattern. Or there's this other shape where if you start on the 9th fret on the D, 10th on the G, 11th on the B, and 12th on the E, you get this weird sounding thing. You can like sweep it. And of course, this is a symmetrical pattern, so you can just move up or down minor thirds, and you'll still be in key. Or if you're a fan of Alan Holdsworth, you could take that horizontal shape I showed you, which is that shape, and what he would do is actually just take 3 note per string patterns of that. So he would just take 3 of those notes, just any of them, and do runs like that. So it could be that, or it could be something like, or really any combination of those notes, and that's the kind of sound that he would work with. And another reason why I like this scale is because of all the chords that you get out of it. So first of all, let's look at what the notes of the scale are. So in the scale we have E, F, G, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, B, C sharp, D flat, D, and E. Now the two first most obvious chords are of course the E diminished 7th and the F diminished 7th. But one thing you may not notice right away is that we actually get an E, G, and a B. So that makes an E minor triad. So that means if somebody plays an E minor chord, you could start playing. And just like I said before, this is a symmetrical scale, so if we move that up or down a minor third, you get this. And all of those chords actually exist within that scale. Now on top of that, we also get E, G sharp, and B. That makes an E major triad. And you could do the same thing. And it gets you that kind of sound. And now if we add 7th chords, we have, if we go back to minor, we have E, G, B, and a D. So you could play 7th chords. And again, we have the G sharp, so E, G sharp, B, D. That makes an E dominant chord. And that's where the dominant chord comes in with the scale. So every time you have a dominant chord leading into the tonic chord, you can play that scale over that. So like... Or for example, we can actually play that over a static dominant 7th chord. So there's really a ton of things that you can do with this scale, and even I probably don't even know everything that you can do with it. Like, you could probably spend your entire life just studying this scale, and you'll probably continue to learn more and more about it. There's even some bands that even like to use exclusively the scale to write melodies and chord progressions. For example, here's one song that I really like that uses pretty much this scale throughout the entire song. So that is the basics of the dominant diminished scale, or the half-whole diminished scale, whatever you want to call it. It's a very cool scale because you can use it pretty much over anything, like over a major chord, a minor chord, a dominant 7th chord. You may not want to use it all the time though, because it'll sound weird after a while, but if you want to just throw it into your playing whenever you feel like you need to build a little tension or something, it actually sounds really cool. But anyway, that's all the time I have today, and that is the end of this little symmetrical scale series. I may do another video later about like using atonal passages in your playing, or using chromatic scales in your melodies, but other than that, that's pretty much the end of just learning the straight scales. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what you thought of the video, and I will catch you all later.